You guys know I'm always weird about putting myself in front of the camera, but I had to do it today. I just got off of a Zoom with a 58-year-old registered nurse, and you guys will not believe she only has $28,000 saved for retirement. You heard me correctly, 28 grand. Now I'm sure you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. There's no way in hell she's retiring with 28,000. And you know what she tells me? She says, Cassandra, I wish somebody would have taught me what you just educated me on years ago. Now I feel like I'm stuck.
Welcome to the Common Sense Philosophy channel. Today's title is Tired and Now Retired. Tired and Now Retired. This is something to see. I know everybody's talking about all this retiring and what's going on with the finances and how people are really scared about what they're going to do once they retire, because they're already making a certain amount of money and they're barely paying their bills with the money they're making today. And now, if you're barely making your bills make sense with the money you making in your 40 to 50 hours a week, what are you going to do once you actually retire? So you're already tired, but now you're retiring. Already tired, but now you're retiring. That makes your mind go crazy right there. All this work, all this to the grind, getting up, going to work. So 8, 12, 16 hours a day, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. All this stuff, trying to help your children, your grandchildren. And then you retire and now you're dealing with maybe a pension, Social Security. Your mortgage is still what it is. Your car is still what it is. Your insurance is still what it is. You want to help your children is what it is. You helped your child go to college. Now your grandchild going, you want to help them. Some people, all these people still living in their house, their children and their children. Then you got the grandchildren starting to have kids. And now you retired, you can't help nobody. When they come and ask you for help, you can't help them. Your health is already tore up from all this working. That's why you're tired. You've been working, your health ain't in the best way. And that's if you weren't on no substances, like you didn't want on no drugs. You wasn't a big drinker trying to get a cold one after you do your 8 hours or 10s, 16s. Let's say you just a little overweight and now you're on Ozempic. You're trying to figure that out. You got to pay for that. This whole retired thing is crazy. And the more you think about it, the crazier it gets. But, leave a comment in the bottom. Let me know what you think. Thanks for coming by, checking out the channel, Common Sense Philosophy. And like I said, title is Tired and Now Retired. Like, subscribe. I'm going to play some more clips so you guys can check some more stuff out. We're going to keep this going. Thanks for coming by. Talk to you guys later. All right. Yep.
I wish I could retire, but the reality is I'm not in a position to do it. And it made me think, there is somebody right now, you are following me and you don't realize retirement is no longer about an age. It's about a dollar amount. If you don't have enough money saved, you will find yourself in the same boat that this person is in. And we see it every day, you guys. Black and brown people still working when we know they should be retired. And I'm going to tell you guys the honest truth. You know how they used to always tell us growing up, oh, what you don't know won't hurt you? That's a lie. What we don't know is destroying us financially. You guys, growing up, the only thing I was taught about money is how to spend it. And I was way too good at spending and I didn't learn anything about wealth building. So when I got my investment licenses, that was my biggest priority. Now I'm realizing the need for what I do is big. Do you guys know that 66% of white people own an investment account? Only 39% of black people own an investment account. You guys, only 28% of Hispanics own an investment account. You know why that's scary? Because what that's telling me is that we are not properly preparing ourselves. And I'm going to tell you guys how I know this is true. So you know the average Caucasian person, you guys, retires with over $568,000 in their account. Average Hispanic retires with about $97,000. Average African American only retires with $80,000 in their investment account. I need you guys to understand that a lot of us were taught how to work for money, but most of us were never taught how to have our money working for us.
Y'all, real talk. When I retired, I thought I had this thing all figured out. Sadly mistaken. It was so many things I didn't consider, and a couple of things are old age. I never dawned on me when I retired. Girl, you are elderly now. You are in the second phase of your life, and things are really different when you get on this side of the tracks. Another thing I didn't prepare for is the world changes a lot. Inflation and all that. But luckily, I had all my ducks in a row financially. That's why I tell people to prepare. Because you never know what this world is going to be like when it's time for you to retire. And then people ask me, well, how long have you been retired? I've been retired for 5 years now. I retired at age 60, and it was such a blessing, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do so. And then people ask me, do you have any regrets? Absolutely not. I have no regrets whatsoever. I learned a long time ago, when you make a decision, you make a decision. Don't have any regrets about the choices that you make in life.
The study that said 64% of Americans will retire broke. 2 out of 3 Americans will reach retirement age and have to live off of Social Security just to survive. The problem isn't that they didn't work hard, they just didn't know the number they needed in order to retire comfortably. If it's ignorance or pain avoidance, but if you do not know your exact number to the exact date that you want to retire and how much you need, you are going to retire broke. You need a calculator that shows you exactly where you're currently at, what your total assets are, what your total expenses are, what your wants, your needs, and give you the exact date that you will be able to retire, how far off you are, and what you need to close that gap even sooner. Most people going through this process, it is a punch in the gut. You don't want to see the truth right now because it's painful, but it's better to see it now than it is when you're older and have a hard time working.
Easy to understand video about why most people don't have money and many retire broke. When you were young, you sold your time for money. No fault of your own. That's what you were taught, and that's what you did. During your 40-year career, you never learned how to use money to work for you. You only owned things that consume money. Primary residence, car, cottage. All you knew how to do was sell time, sell time, sell time. Eventually, you got old, and you had no more time to sell. You were just left with things that burn money. And because you had no skills to learn how to use money to work for you, you went broke. You had 30, 40, 50 years to break the cycle, and you didn't.
Nobody seem to want to talk about out loud. Because when you think about retirement, it was never designed for the economy we are living in right now. Literally think about it. Pensions, those are gone. The cost of living, that's doubled. People are living a good 20 to 30 years longer. And don't get me started on wages, y'all, because we know that wages have not been keeping up with any of that. So if you feel behind when it comes to retirement, I'm gonna need for you to give yourself a little bit of grace, because the system that you were taught is outdated. And working for 40 years and retiring at 65, they may have worked for your parents, but that is not our reality anymore.